Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Day After Tomorrow, and this movie is directed by Roland Emmerich and stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid. I've seen this movie, I think, at least once before, maybe a couple times before, like 10 years ago, maybe even longer, and I don't really have any fond memories of it other than I knew that Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, and that was about all I could remember. And it was like a cold movie thing about global warming or something. And while watching the movie, I did realize that South Park did kind of parody this movie a little bit. And I was just thinking of that while watching this movie. I was like, that's kind of funny. And I'll say this much about the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought he was good in the movie. And whenever he was on screen, I was with the movie. I wasn't all that bored because he was the only character I was kind of somewhat interested in watching in terms of like where his plot line was going. And there were some interesting visuals in this movie, which is not something I can say about some other Roland Emmerich movies like Independence Day, Godzilla 2012. Like this one, it does have some visuals that looked interesting because it's just freezing cold temperatures and it's pretty difficult to screw that up. Or at least I would imagine it would be pretty difficult to make that look boring. So the fact that it looks interesting is both nice and like something that I can actually praise the movie for. And as far as positives go, that's about it. I mostly found this movie to be pretty dull, mostly because I don't find any of the characters all that interesting, nor do I find the dialogue particularly gripping. It's just a lot of people are talking about what's going on, and other people are talking about, we could do that, but money. And I was just thinking to myself, why do we need this? It's just dragging everything along into so you can have like a 2 hour movie, which this movie did not need to be 2 hours. It could have been an hour and a half easily. And I feel like I say that about a lot of movies, but it's true. This movie just is too long for what it is. There's also too many characters for no reason. Like, you could have just had, like, 2 storylines and that would have been it. But there's lots of side characters in this movie, surprisingly. And they don't need to be there. I don't understand why they're in the movie as much as they are. The action scenes in this movie, if you even want to call them that, they're not particularly memorable. They're a bit more entertaining than the boring dialogue scenes, I'll say that much. Like, at least something is happening. But at the same time, it's just like, you're kind of just wasting this. And this is just one of those movies where throughout the entire runtime, I just did not feel any emotion. I was like, this happened, and that looks like it's in a computer. And there are points in this movie that look like they're all done in a computer, and there's like CG wolves that didn't really age all that well. And there's plot holes in this movie, like why did the female lead or love interest character not tell anyone about her injury? And apparently, that was said, like one of the characters mentions that when they discover her injury. But I don't think that was like actually communicated beforehand. Like it was kind of just kept a secret for no reason. I don't know why. And throughout this movie, there was just nothing for me to care about. Like I don't really care about these characters. The action scenes, they're fine for what they are. Like the movie just wants to be a disaster movie, like some world-ending disaster thing. And that's fine and all. And I guess it did its job, and there were a couple moments that were memorable. Mostly just like cold temperatures rising, or temperatures falling, if you want to call it that. But aside from that, there really isn't anything to this movie. It's just, what can we do with this concept? And they don't really do anything all that interesting with it. It's just, this is something we can put in the movie. Let's put this in the movie. Is that something we can put in the movie? Let's also put that in the movie. And that's pretty much the whole movie. It's just random ideas, and they made a story out of it, kind of. But it's nothing to write home about. And it's pretty forgettable, if you ask me. So I will say this. It's probably one of Roland Emmerich's better movies, if not his best movie, even if that isn't saying all that much because I don't really like any of his movies. But there's at least parts of this movie I can remember, as opposed to like nothing about some of his other movies. Like, I barely remember anything about Independence Day or 2012. Like, those movies I feel are some of his more forgettable films. Like, I can barely remember anything about them. 2012 especially. So with all that being said, I'm going to give The Day After Tomorrow a 3 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of The Day After Tomorrow, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up. And this is going to be a long one, and I think it's the longest movie I will watch, at least for a while. It's going to be the longest movie I've seen in my entire life, and that is Zack Snyder's Justice League from 2021. Never saw it, and I thought I was never going to watch it, but here we are. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.